Breaking tonight, the socialist dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela is no longer. Venezuela has a new president, a leader chosen by the people and supported by the United States of America. Here is my exclusive interview with our Vice President, Mike Pence. There's something else going on as well, because Vladimir Putin, I was told by the former Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez of Venezuela, I was told by her that they're doing business with him. They're doing business with the Chinese. They're doing business with the Iranians, that they're open for business, basically, to, you know, all the folks that we don't like so much. But anyway, Ms. Rodriguez did point this out. Now that there is a president that has a relationship with us, who wants freedom for his people, how does that change the Putin equation, the Chinese, the Iranians?
We've seen Russia, China, and Cuba engage in what we'll call debt diplomacy with Venezuela. And what we will ask of the new transitional government is simply that they uphold their constitution and the rule of law. Many of those arrangements were simply made unilaterally by the Maduro regime and never approved through the National Assembly and the legislature as the Constitution requires. But look, our hope is that this is a new beginning for our relationship with Venezuela. And more importantly, that it's a new beginning for the Venezuelan people. I must tell you, Trish, I've rarely been more moved than to see the vast crowds that took to the streets today in Venezuela, waving Venezuelan flags and standing up for freedom, standing up for democracy and fair elections and the rule of law. And I'm very inspired by the courage of all of those in the opposition who've been willing to stand up to a regime that has used violence to oppress its critics, that has jailed its opposition in the past. We've seen the brutality of the Maduro regime. And so the courage that President Guaido has shown, the courage that all of those in the opposition have shown to bring this day about is not lost on President Trump. It's not lost on me. And we're going to continue to stand firm with the people of Venezuela until freedom and democracy are restored.
Mm-hmm. Lillian Lopez, Tintorni Lopez, told me that, and this is the woman who's married to Leopoldo Lopez, who probably would have been president in a fair election because he's the most popular politician. There he was jailed by Maduro.
Another courageous man.
Truly, truly. I mean, and courageous woman and courageous family, because there are other things they could do than take on this fight. But they took it on, and Lillian, I know, met with you, met with the president. But for her, this was a breakthrough because she wasn't able to get any traction, shall we say, during the previous administration. For whatever reason, it wasn't as big a priority. You know, when I hear you talk about those crowds and how it's sort of an emotional experience watching them, I felt the same way. And I think that as Americans, you know, we want what's right for people. We want people to be able to control their own destiny. But why this sort of sense that they could handle it on their own previously, and why the change? Is that just a different view of the world from this administration versus the last?
Well, President Trump had a unique appreciation for the challenges in Venezuela from early in this administration. And he deployed the full resources of our Treasury Department to sanction more than 50 officials in the Maduro regime, including many very close to Nicolas Maduro. We've provided more than $100 million in humanitarian assistance to those who have fled Venezuela. And my wife and I have visited refugee camps in countries around the region. But the president had a priority early in this administration, that we were going to take actions necessary to isolate the Maduro regime economically and diplomatically, simply to empower the people of Venezuela to seize this moment in history for freedom. And and the Lopez family led the way. They showed extraordinary courage in that. And now with President Guaidó, we are going to continue to stand with him, with other countries that are recognizing him as the legitimate president of Venezuela. And the American people are going to continue to stand with and pray for the people of Venezuela until freedom is restored.
Are you going to invite President Guaidó here?
I will leave that decision to the President of the United States. But this is a good day for freedom. And the American people and this president, this administration will continue to stand without apology for freedom and with President Guaidó.